Welcome to this edition of the 420 News. News for the head change.
Tonight I got to experience a marijuana bus tour, minus the pot smoking, of course, and I found out about the rules cannabis travelers have to stick to. The green light for retail pot.
I saw the opportunity a few months ago to get into this.
Means green tours are the trendiest way to navigate Colorado's cannabis.
Surprisingly, it's a much older clientele, and clientele I was really shocked with because, you got your lawyers, your doctors, and people you wouldn't assume or think do or smoke marijuana.
Rocco Jershkovich expanded his limo service to include a new venture, 420 bus tours. He's done a few already and says he'll take the business full swing by February, showing out-of-towners, paraphernalia shops, and
we follow every inch of the law.
Jershkovich says he wants his customers to know the law too. That's why the very first stop on the tour is here, the law firm of one of the attorneys who wrote Amendment 64. Travelers will get a thorough rundown of what's allowed.
I'll make sure that people are educated when they're on the bus and when they get off the bus.
I talked to several marijuana tourism businesses today. They all said they've been overwhelmed with people wanting to book a trip. Some also said that New Year's Day isn't going to be huge for tourism because it's been so unclear how many retail shops will be open. Jessica, they said that April 20th, 420 is going to be that big day that folks come to Colorado.
Definitely seems like there's going to be a widespread impact on tourism here, so it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Thank you so much, Lindsay.
What a great transportation option. Next up, one of the largest marijuana grow-ops in Canada. You say, wow?
Want to see the new breed of grow-ops? Well, drive northeast from Saskatoon along the pure Prairie Highway, and there's an unmarked turnoff that takes you onto a dirt road. Then to the gates of a nondescript building. You'd never guess what was inside. It's a field of dreams. 150,000 square feet of growing space. That's about the size of 2.5 football fields.
Holy shit, pass the papers.
Probably the biggest legal marijuana grow-op in the world. Wow. Run by a prairie boy named Brent Zettel.
This is the good stuff. This is a Cheech and Chong's dream.
Yeah, man.
If I'm looking over this, what is this worth right here?
Just under $300,000.
He's been growing marijuana now for 14 years.
An interesting dynamic is that every single marijuana plant has a different smell. So the staff know these plants by their numbers, but they also know them immediately by their smells.
His operation has the smell of success. Not bad when you consider growing up on a farm in Saskatchewan. He says he never even touched the stuff.
Me and my buddies, we drank. I didn't even know. Truth is, I hadn't ever seen a live plant until I actually got the contract with Health Canada. So I hadn't ever seen it, even I saw what a plant looked like.
That's the way we want every crop to be, right?
Back in 2000, Zettel opened Canada's first ever medical marijuana grow-op in an abandoned zinc mine. Back then, he was the only licensed producer for Health Canada. But his business, called Cannabed, outgrew the mine, so he built this facility. And since then, he's watched the market grow, as all those baby boomers find a renewed reason to smoke.
There's a demographic, the baby booming demographic, who has these conditions coming in that where medical cannabis seems to be influencing or providing some symptom relief. Our baby boomers are getting older and they're starting to reach those kind of things, such as osteoarthritis, fibromyalgia, MS, oncology, those kinds of.
Forget just enjoy getting high.
Canamed treats its weed like a prescription drug, working in controlled conditions, carefully cloning seeds in petri dishes, creating standardized potency in the plants. It seems more like a pharmaceutical company than a big box grow-op.
I want a position in quality control.
And just like a pharmaceutical company, it's all about quality control. And just like a pharmaceutical company, they're paying for research, hoping to discover that marijuana is the miracle cure for something that ails us.
The evolution of this drug is starting to reach a point where we're really beginning to understand its potential and its impacts.
And it's only fitting Canada's biggest grow-up should produce the biggest bag of pot you'll likely ever see in your lifetime.
To do the math for me, what is this worth?
Well, if you were doing it at $10,000 a kilogram, it'd be worth $25,000.
Okay, everybody wipe your chin and pick your tongue up off the floor. Our next clip, a great debate. Bill O'Reilly on the bottom.
Bill O'Reilly had a Fox contributor, Mary Catherine Ham, back on his show to debate marijuana policy, and he's going to get his ass kicked.
By the time your daughter gets to the teenage years, pot will be like chewing gum, smoking a cigarette. All right? That's what it's going to be. That is going to harm the fabric, the motivation, the everything of this. 1 in 6 teenagers now gets addicted to marijuana once they try it. That number is going to go to 3 to 6.
Yes. Okay.
And that's what's going to happen. Go.
A couple things. I do not want my daughter, since we're talking about her, to maybe drink a bunch of alcohol or have a tattoo when she's a teenager. Those things are legal. They might be inadvisable for my child, but I do not necessarily think that they have to be illegal, especially if it takes billions of dollars to keep them illegal. Further, when it comes to alcohol and THC, I disagree with you fundamentally on the idea that I think people can enjoy marijuana and alcohol in moderation.
Right. Are we talking
as adults.
children now?
Wait,
Are we
no,
talking? Okay.
No.
Well, then why are you veering out of the children realm?
Because we're talking about legalization for adults.
Okay.
We're not talking about legalization for children.
See, this is what you did last week, and this is what you're doing again.
When I answered your question last week, that's exactly what I did last week.
Petty fogging the issue by taking out of the children realm into the adult realm. I clearly said if adults want to use it, I have no problem with it, and they shouldn't be bothered. I clearly said that. You dodge the children issue because you can't justify it. What happens is, yes, alcohol is a plague. More than 10% of American adults addicted. And children are drinking all over the place.
Would you like to prohibit it? Do you want to be a lady of temperance? Would you like to be a woman of temperance?
No. You want to add to an already bad problem by making another intoxicant socially acceptable.
You want to perpetuate a system that is already not working. Is it working properly right now, Bill?
All you have to do is decriminalize marijuana and send the message to children in a heavy-duty way, this is not a good substance. We in this country are doing the opposite. We are saying it is okay. And you are part of the problem, Mary Catherine, but you will not acknowledge it.
You have a pretty daggone big platform. You can continue to say that.
I will.
And by the way, they're not legalizing it for children. It's just as illegal now as it was before. And Colorado has not fallen apart in 10 years of medical marijuana use.
Go girl.
Yeah, she's not part of the problem. You're part of the problem, Bill. We spent over $1 trillion in the war on drugs, and we have absolutely nothing to show for it. The usage rates are higher now after we spent the $1 trillion. Not to mention violent crime is up because of the war on drugs. Not to mention the over 60,000 people that died on the border between Texas and Mexico because we're following the policy that you want to do. Whatever happened to being a fiscal conservative? I thought that's what you were, Bill. You're always railing against big government spending. This is the biggest government spending, and it's been an abject failure. But I love how he says that she's pettifogging and diverting the issue when that's what he's doing. He keeps trying to debate kids smoking weed, when she said from the very beginning in both of their debates that I'm not in favor of that and nobody's in favor of legalizing marijuana use for 7-year-olds or 12-year-olds, Bill. You're making that part up. The discussion is, should we legalize for adults? But another reason why I say that she destroyed him in that debate, she actually got concessions from him. He snuck it in there. You didn't realize it. Or I think a lot of people didn't realize it. I listened to the clip 3 times. I jotted it down. I quoted him because I couldn't believe I was hearing what I was hearing. But O'Reilly actually said at one point, quote, if adults want to use it, I have no problem with it, and they shouldn't be bothered. I clearly said that. Well, no, you didn't clearly say that, Bill. because your entire fucking time on Fox News you've been arguing that the war on drugs is a good thing. So you didn't say that. You didn't say that at all. You said the opposite of that, okay? But you just argued for legalization, Bill. No, seriously, you just said you're okay with legalization. Because that's what the people who want to legalize want. They say, if adults want to use it, I have no problem with it and they shouldn't be bothered. Well, that's what legalization is. That's what Colorado did. That's what Washington did. That's what we want to get in all the states. That's what all of us are in favor of, at least all the sane people. So you just argued for legalization, you don't even realize it. This is why she destroyed him, because she kept fucking hitting him with logical point after logical point after logical point, saying, look, alcohol is worse than marijuana. We're not saying you legalize it for kids to drink, but it should be legal for adults. Right. And you just keep chipping away, and he slipped in the concessions. He also said at one point, quote, all you have to do is decriminalize marijuana and send the message to children in a heavy-duty way, this is not a good substance. Okay, that's a reasonable position also. Decriminalizing, that's not full legalization, but did you notice something? The entire clip, Bill's implication is that he's arguing in favor of the war on drugs and he wants to keep policy the same way it is now at the federal level. But then he slips in that legalization line that I told you, and then he also slipped in, he wants to decriminalize marijuana. Well, which is it? You just argued for all three positions. You were arguing war on drugs is good, but we should legalize, and we should decriminalize. That's all the positions. You don't know what you're doing. But that's the point. See, Bill O'Reilly, he just runs around like a chicken with his head cut off sometimes.
That does it for this portion of the 420 News. Join us again next time, and be sure to check out some of our other specials that we do. And be sure to share, and thanks for subscribing. Have a great day, and blow one for me.